So let's talk about this idea of clipping. Clipping is essentially when something is too bright or too dark. The tones go off the edges of our histograms in our levels adjustment window. So we'll look at this image and go under our image adjustments levels. And if we look at it, we can see on our histogram here that all this information is actually going too far to the bright area of the image. In other words, it's been clipped. All the detail that might exist in these clouds here is gone. Other end of the scale here, over in the black area, some of these areas that actually should be black, this mountain should almost be in a silhouette, is pretty washed out. So a little levels adjustment can go a long way in an image like this. So we pull our black tone slider to the middle to meet the beginning of this mountain or this area where the information starts. And then by shifting our mid-tone slider towards the middle, you can actually see we're beginning to bring out some of the detail in that sky over there. We can even do it so pretty significantly to the point that we can now see the clouds in the sky in this image. So I'll hit OK, and then if we go in, now we can see that new histogram has tonal information throughout the whole range of it. And you can kind of see in the middle here, this is not a perfect histogram, but certainly from where we started, it was a big step. Let's look at another image. Images with histograms that have a lot of gaps in them. So we've got a gap at the bright end and a gap at the dark end, have a tonality that tends to be pretty dull and flat. There's no black blacks, there's no white whites. This one's an easy correction in that we simply take our white slider or white endpoint slider and just bring it in to where that histogram information starts, and bring the black one in there to where the black information starts. And then again, we can kind of play around with this a little bit and adjust this perfectly to our liking. So there is after and there's before. Pretty significant difference. And then one last example here. This shot again, we can see pretty dull, flat, gray tonality to it. Go into our adjustments, levels adjustment, and we can see immediately what the problem is. Giant gap in our histogram here from about the middle to the whites. Basically what this is saying is there's no whites in this image. And if you look in here, you can see we've got little pieces of ice floating through the water. Those should be white, or at least a very light shade of gray. So with this levels adjustment, we can just pull that over like that, and all of a sudden now those whites are much closer to where they should be to really make this image pop. And then again, we always want to consider some further refinements here in our midtones, perhaps something like that. And then we have an image that has much more pop or much more contrast to it.